Mokwele has lodged a complaint with the IDAC Ombudsman against Johnson following her testimony at the Madlanga Commission. During her testimony, Johnson admitted that IDAC's decision to prosecute Mokwele was based on factually incorrect information. Mokwele, Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo, and 4 others were arrested over allegations that her qualifications had been misrepresented when she was appointed to the senior position. Last week proved to be a challenging one for the IDAC head, who spent 3 consecutive days under intense questioning at the Madlanga Commission. The commission raised concerns over Johnson's failure to demonstrate that there were reasonable grounds to justify the arrest and prosecution of Brigadier Mokwele. During her testimony, Johnson conceded that Mokwele's arrest was based on information that may not have been accurate. In a letter to IDAC Ombudsman Judge Takalani Ralinga, Mokwele argues that Johnson's inability to justify her arrest warrants scrutiny. She is calling for a formal investigation into Johnson's conduct. Few weeks ago, General Khumalo's lawyer sent a letter to Justice Minister requesting a meeting. On the 22nd of July, 2026, IDAC Ombudsman acknowledged the letter, then sent the email. It reads as follows. Request for a meeting in terms of Section 22A of the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment ACT 2024. The Office of the IDAC Oversight Judge hereby acknowledges your complaint dated Monday, June 22, 2026, submitted to the Honorable Minister Mameloko Kubuyi, the Minister, regarding the lodging of a formal complaint against the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, IDAC. The complaint is under consideration in accordance with Section 22A of the National Prosecuting Authority Act, 1998, Act No. 32 of 1998, as inserted by the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Act, 2024, Act No. 10 of 2024. In terms of Section 22A, the IDAC Oversight Judge is mandated to receive and investigate complaints relating to alleged improper conduct, impropriety, or prejudice arising from the conduct of persons appointed to or assigned to the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, IDAC, and may obtain such information as is necessary for the proper discharge of this statutory mandate. To facilitate the investigation and ensure a comprehensive and impartial assessment of the matters raised in your complaint, the Office of the IDAC Oversight Judge has assigned in-house investigators to conduct a preliminary fact-finding process under the direction of the Oversight Judge. Accordingly, you are hereby requested to attend a meeting with the investigators to clarify aspects of your complaint, provide any additional information or further documentary evidence that may assist the investigation. The Office of the IDAC Oversight Judge proposes 3 possible dates for the meeting as follows. Suggested meeting dates. Proposed date: Tuesday, July 28, 2026. MS Teams. 10 Uhr morgens. Wednesday, July 29, 2026. MS Teams. 10 Uhr morgens. Thursday, July 30, 2026. MS Teams. 10 Uhr morgens. Should the proposed meeting dates be inconvenient, kindly contact this office upon receipt of this letter so that a mutually convenient date and time may be arranged. You are encouraged to bring any documentation or other evidence relevant to the complaint. Should you wish to submit such documentation before the meeting, it may be forwarded electronically prior to the scheduled meeting. Your cooperation is appreciated and will contribute to the fair, independent, and expeditious investigation of the complaint in accordance with the statutory oversight functions entrusted to this office. Should you require any further information, I trust the above will find your favorable consideration. Yours faithfully, Judge T. J. Ralinga, IDAC Oversight.
That Brigadier Mokwele has lodged a complaint against the IDAC head. Surely not too surprised considering the concessions that Advocate Johnson made this week.
I'm very happy that the Office of the Ombudsman exists, and I am also very happy that Brigadier Mokwele with her legal representatives lodged the formal complaint, because everybody else who has abused their positions of power in the manner that Andrea Johnson has conceded to have done need to be brought to justice. And that is exactly why even in the legislation that was passed in May 2024, the Office of the Ombuds was basically set up. And it will give us an opportunity as South Africans to see their action or their reaction response to what has happened. And more than that, we will also see what happens to the case that was laid against Brigadier Mokwele. So this is big up. I am very glad that Brigadier Mokwele is fighting this injustice that she has suffered at the end of Andrea Johnson and others.
You know, we're hearing a lot when you're talking about you're glad that the Office of the Ombudsman exists as well. They clearly are going to have a lot on their plate as well as the Ombudsman. Now, considering the role of the IDAC in the first place, now it having to have another body to oversee that it does its actual work, which is to tackle corruption. What does that tell us now that, you know, the Ombudsman has basically just been established properly and officially so, and already there's so much workload on the Ombudsman's hands?
Well, it tells us that we needed the Office of the Ombudsman, which was in the legislation in 2024 already. One does not understand when the Zondo Commission made it very clear that we needed a permanent body. That is how IDAC was established within the NPA. It was established recognizing that it cannot be a temporary structure, which it was from 2019, that it needs to be a permanent structure, which was legislated in May 2024. In the law, the Ombudsman Office was already there. Now, I think what is happening with IDAC right now means that we ought to go back and look at that legislation and see whether or not it has covered all bases. But what it tells us was that the thinking that there should be an ombudsman was the right one. And clearly any body, as in an entity that deals with corruption, needs to have the Office of the Ombudsman. Insurance companies have it, consumer bodies have it, where if you are not happy with how your matter was handled, you can go to a neutral body that can look at both instances. And until now, that office, while it was legislated, did not exist. We are very happy that it is there. The caution, though, is the fact that we hope that it is adequately resourced so that, as you rightfully say, it can investigate all of these complaints that comes to it and take appropriate action. And where the law and the legislation is not strong enough, we hope that what the Madlanga is teaching us is that we ought to have an independent, strong anti-corruption and corruption investigation authority with full powers that the police have, but also with the sophisticated investigators, forensic investigators, commercial investigators, investigators who will also make sure that whoever is appointed in this position is one that is really beyond reproach.
IDAC is established in terms of the NPA Act and operates within NPA as an institution. But in paragraph 22 of your statement, you say IDAC is an independent entity. Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean?
So, when I talk of independent, I do not talk of outside of the NPA, Honorable Chair. What I mean is that we have a mandate that we are able to execute on our own, not outside of the NPA. It's an independent exercise of duty, discretion, and the powers.
Okay. Do we have cases that emanate as a result of the SARS inquiry?
That is correct, Chair.
How many people have been arrested in relation to it?
We have, the SARS inquiry is slightly different and somewhat challenging, but we have the one matter, I can only just mention the main accused only because the person is in court. We have the matter of Dumagan Ndlovu in terms of the Nugent Commission of Inquiry. And then we also do have arrests on the PIC inquiry for the Party Commission. But we don't have as many because in those ones, Chair, there's a lot more investigations to be done as opposed to those that were in the State Capture Commission report and findings.
How many from the PIC?
From the PIC, we have 3 matters, and I am aware that there are a further 2 matters that are set for enrollment before the end of this financial year.
Okay. So part of what has been leveled against General Khumalo is the fact that there is a particular irrational employment of an individual. Is it part of the complaints from Mr. Adams?
That is correct, Chair.
Did you go to an extent of investigating how the employment came about? Who was involved in the employment of the said person?
That is the matter that is currently before court. And so those aspects that I alluded to in AJ1 from paragraph 12, pages 7, 8, and 9, those were the allegations in terms of the irregular appointment that was referred to. There are other matters